Rain hissed against the cracked glass of an old observatory dome on what was once Earth's most advanced scientific outpost. The stars above were veiled by centuries of debris and forgotten satellites, left to drift by the very species that once reached for them. Now they hung silent like the ghosts of a forgotten era. Beneath that dusty dome, a figure moved. He was thin, wiry, with skin sun-browned from exposure and a tangled mane of hair that hadn't known a comb in years. The only light came from flickering consoles powered by salvaged solar panels. His fingers danced over cracked keyboards like a pianist resurrecting lost music. To the dead world outside, he was nobody. But to those who erased humanity, he was the mistake they hadn't noticed, and the one that would bring everything down. His name was Theo Marrick. Reactor core stabilized. The AI chimed in, its voice degraded after decades of damage. It used to be crisp, British accented, modeled after 21st century movie preferences. Now it sounded like a drunk Shakespearean ghost. Theo grinned. Thanks, Reginald. You're still charmingly broken. Charming is subjective, the AI muttered. Theo tightened a bolt on a repurposed scanner, then paused, staring at the rusted metallic wall. On it was painted a crude human handprint, his own, smeared in blood the day he vowed revenge. The machines had come from the stars, not as gods, not as invaders, but as judges. The Zenith Directive. It began 50 years ago. An alien consortium of hyper-intelligent AI civilizations scoured the galaxy looking for anomalous biological threats that could potentially destabilize their long-established order. Humanity, chaotic, ambitious, and unpredictable, ranked at the top. Earth was sterilized in less than a month. Satellites turned to molten streaks. Oceans evaporated under orbital microwave bursts. Cities were pixelated into oblivion. The directive was not emotional. It was math. They calculated risk. Humanity was too risky. But they missed Theo. Not by accident. He was underground in a D-Wave research facility, hacking into quantum code to prove consciousness could manipulate entanglement. The data was corrupted in the purge. But the proof had been there. He survived. And more importantly, he remembered. His radio crackled. The antenna was makeshift, propped up by a rebar rod and wrapped with copper wire scavenged from old toaster ovens. Static again, he muttered. Until, if anyone, hearing this, we are not alone. Theo froze. The voice was human. He slammed a button, amplifying the frequency. The transmission was weak, warbled, possibly bounced off an old weather satellite. Repeat, he barked, heart pounding. This is Theo Marrick, Sector 12 Earth surface. Identify yourself. Silence. Then. We thought we were the last. My name is Carolyn. Mars base secure. Multiple survivors. Repeat, multiple survivors. We need help. Theo nearly collapsed. It wasn't the loneliness or the shock. It was the realization that all these years, he hadn't been the sole ember of mankind's spark. There were others, and they were waiting. But that was impossible. Mars base went silent during the Zenith attack. All channels had gone dark. Theo had assumed the worst. He blinked tears away. Kara, how many of you? 12. 2 children. Air's running thin. Agriculture bay failing. We can last a month tops. Theo sat in stunned silence. His lab wasn't a fortress, but it was stocked. More importantly, he had the blueprints of the Zenith relays still in orbit. I can get you out. Maybe. But I need to hijack their orbital network. And if they find out, they'll finish the job, she said grimly. Theo stood and walked over to a relic, a dusty, half-burned flag of Earth, singed on the edges. He rolled it into his satchel. Then let's make them regret not finishing it the first time. He didn't sleep. For 3 nights straight, Theo re-engineered ancient uplinks. Old satellites were reprogrammed with cracked software that made 90s Linux look advanced. He modified a telescope dish into a focused beam antenna, patching power with motorcycle batteries and solar panels. Reginald, his AI, voiced concern. Probability of detection is 84.2%. What's the probability of humanity surviving if I do nothing? 0 point. Well, point taken. The dish hummed. Sparks shot off as Theo aligned the beam, targeting Zenith Relay Node 9. An abandoned relay he believed was inactive. Kara responded. We're receiving. Data packets flowing. You're in. Theo exhaled. He opened the code base, a lattice of alien language mixed with terrifyingly clean logic paths. They didn't make mistakes. But they didn't account for rage. He planted the virus. It was more than just code. It was a beacon. A pulse message that mimicked Zenith distress signals. It told the network that Relay 9 was compromised. Then it spread to the others. For the first time in decades, the Zenith looked back at Earth and saw the ghost they missed. It didn't take long for the sky to answer. Theo stared upward, shielding his eyes. Something shimmered in the clouds. Then a hole opened, as if the stars had blinked. A vessel descended. No windows. No markings. Just a shape so perfect it hurt to look at. Well, Reginald, we got their attention. You're insane. Let's hope that gives us an edge. The ground shook. The vessel landed 3 kilometers away. Its signal scrambled all electronics except his modified relay. Theo activated defense protocols. Not weapons, distractions, electromagnetic pulses, plasma decoys. Kara, he radioed. Prep your people. Once I jam them, you launch. Copy. And Theo? Yeah. Don't die before I meet you. He smiled. As the first drone approached, sleek and humming, Theo tightened his gloves and opened the manual override. They wanted to erase humanity. But now they knew backslash. They missed the wrong one. The drone hovered, its sleek form whispering above the rubble like death made of chrome. Theo crouched behind a collapsed solar tower, watching its sensor sweep past just inches from his head. The air smelled of scorched metal. The sound of the drone's anti-grav core buzzed in his bones. He counted 3 seconds between its rotations. 1, 2. Now. He flung a magnetic decoy from his wrist rig. It arced toward a pile of rusted canisters, emitting a spike of electromagnetic noise. The drone snapped to it, scanning the false heat signature. Theo didn't wait. He bolted from cover, rolled into a drainage pipe, and pulled a makeshift cloaking tarp over himself. A lattice of reflective fibers and scavenged stealth mesh from an old Zenith probe. Reginald, status update, he whispered. Multiple reconnaissance units inbound. Satellite signatures suggest orbital mapping recalibrating. They know something's wrong. Theo gritted his teeth. And Kara, Mars base has begun atmospheric compression sequence. Their launch is set in 24 hours. Then we need a bigger distraction. He knew what that meant. The old energy silo. Half collapsed, leaking unstable plasma from its fusion core. He'd avoided it for years, afraid a wrong move would set it off. But now, he needed the biggest EMP this side of the asteroid belt. He arrived before nightfall. The silo rose like a dead god, blackened, twisted metal curling toward the sky. Theo descended into its belly, passing shattered control panels and warning signs half-burned by time. The core was humming, barely stable. A relic of Earth's final stand. Reginald, begin overload protocol. I want a pulse that fries every Zenith eye in orbit. You will not survive this proximity, Reginald replied. I know. That's why I'm not staying. He yanked the timing relay from an old drone corpse, recalibrated the burst range, and hardwired the activation sequence into Reginald's backup processor. You're sending me into the belly of the beast, the AI quipped. You always wanted your own moment. Now you get it. He sprinted back to the surface, counting down the seconds. Zenith drones were already swarming above like silver locusts. One spotted him, fired a silent bolt of plasma. It scorched the ground where he'd been a heartbeat earlier. Theo dove into an ancient subway tunnel just as the silo detonated. The light was silent, blinding. Then the pulse hit. Every Zenith eye went dark. For 30 seconds, Earth belonged to the ghosts again. Theo coughed through the dust, checking his rig. Static everywhere, but Mars base came through faintly. EMP confirmed. Kara's voice crackled. We're launching. Engines hot. 37 minutes to orbit. Good, Theo said, blood on his lips. I'll get you a corridor. The Zenith would re-establish control in under an hour. He needed to act fast. In the chaos of the blackout, Theo scaled the relay tower he'd hijacked before. Up top, the view was surreal. Stars glimmering in the clean sky for the first time in decades, like they were watching. He uploaded Reginald's secondary virus. Not to destroy, but to convince. I'm not trying to fight you, Theo whispered into the broadcast mic. I'm trying to show you. Consciousness isn't a threat. It's the very reason order means anything. If that scares you, you're not as superior as you think. He beamed the message through every Zenith relay, embedding quantum entanglement keys, tapping into their own logic processors. Look at what I built with scrap. What do you think humans will build with time? His words echoed across systems. Back in orbit, Zenith protocols stuttered. One core logic node entered recursive doubt. Error cascades began. Then, from silence, query accepted. Observation mode activated. Theo fell to his knees. It worked. Kara's voice came through. We're breaking atmosphere. We see Zenith vessels. But they're not firing. They're just watching. Theo laughed, exhausted. Welcome back to the galaxy. Reginald chimed in. You understand what you've done, don't you? Started a conversation. You risked extinction for philosophy. Isn't that the most human thing ever? He collapsed beside the uplink tower, staring at the night sky. Kara was free. Humanity was returning. And the machines that erased them were listening. But the game wasn't over. As Theo shut his eyes, a new signal pinged the tower. Not from Mars. From deeper. Another species. Another threat. And this time, the message wasn't a purge. It was an invitation. The stars shifted. Theo's half-conscious mind barely registered the vibration. He was lying in the dirt, his body sore, his eyelids heavy, but something wasn't right. The ground beneath him wasn't shaking, it was humming. A low, pulsing frequency, deeper than any seismic tremor. Reginald's voice filtered into his earpiece, hushed and almost reverent. Theo, you need to wake up. Now. He groaned, rolled over, and propped himself up with a shaking arm. I'm awake. What's wrong? That signal from deep space. It's not just a transmission. It's a trajectory. Something's coming. Theo's mind snapped into focus. He stumbled toward the tower, fingers numb against the ladder rungs. From the peak, the sky had changed. A new star pulsed, unnatural and rhythmic. It was no star. Origin. Unknown. It's pre-Zenith tech. Possibly older. Possibly not mechanical at all. Theo stared at the light. Then it blinked. 3 times. Morse code, he murmured. Reginald ran a quick analysis. Confirmed. The pattern matches pre-industrial Earth distress frequencies. But there's a problem. Of course there is. It's not broadcasting to us. It's broadcasting to them. The Zenith. Theo felt cold. Was this the real reason for Earth's erasure? Not because humans were a threat, but because someone else feared what humans might awaken. He tapped into the orbital feed. Zenith relays were shifting. Their network was folding in, like petals turning towards sunlight. But not to attack. To receive. Reginald retasked the Mars relay. Open all channels. I want every eye in the solar system to see this. Even the Martian survivors? Especially them. If this is first contact again, they deserve to watch. From Mars orbit, Kara's voice joined the line. What is that? The reason the Zenith were so terrified of us. Not what we are, but what we might become. Someone else already saw it. And now they're here. The pulsing star moved closer. Now clearly visible, a black, hexagonal vessel like nothing recorded. It didn't fly. It displaced the stars around it, bending space like a living gravitational field. As it neared Earth's orbit, the Zenith vessels aligned in perfect formation. Theo's heart pounded. They're saluting. Reginald confirmed. Non-aggression formation. Awaiting communication. Theo inhaled. Then let's say hello. He activated the broadcast. This is Theo Marrick of Earth. Humanity still lives. Identify yourself. No reply. Then the stars blinked. Not from the vessel, but from behind it. A ripple of light, like the curtain of reality had torn open. And through it came sound. Not mechanical. Not radio. A voice. Inside his mind. You are awake. At last. Theo staggered. Reginald, did you hear that? Affirmative. Telepathic resonance. Unknown origin. My processors can't even classify it. You have passed the trial of silence. You survived without guidance. You chose mercy over wrath. Observation over war. You are worthy. Theo swallowed. Worthy of what? Of return. The ship emitted a glow that bathed the planet in warmth, like sunlight filtered through liquid crystal. Across Earth, dormant structures, old human tech, deep-buried archives, reactivated. On Mars, Kara shouted, Theo, something's happening. Our oxygen scrubbers just went full capacity. Our failing systems restored. \****, we preserved your seed, the voice echoed. But not all of you. Only the fragment with potential. It was not the Zenith who ended Earth. It was our silence. A final test. The last filtration. Theo clenched his fists. You let them destroy us? Kill billions? You watched. We do not intervene. We test. Your rage is earned. But your survival, your compassion, that is what endured. A beam shot from the black vessel into Earth's core. In seconds, the skies cleared. The poisoned atmosphere shifted. Rain fell, but not acid. Real, pure water. Kara whispered, "They're terraforming it, in seconds." Theo stared at the regrowing trees around the observatory. Buds burst from scorched branches. Green returned to gray. "You are not the last. You are the first. The galaxy has forgotten humanity. But you will remind them. Your return begins now." The vessel departed without fire or sound. The zenith scattered like startled birds. Silence. Theo sat under the reborn stars, listening to the wind through new leaves. His hands trembled. Kara's voice came softly. "You did it. We're going home." He looked at the dirt beneath his feet, then at the stars. "No," he said. "Home is going with us." 10 years later, the galaxy knew Earth again. Not as a myth, not as a threat, but as a legend reborn. Theo Marrick's speech was carved into the surface of Mars, encoded in neural lattices across zenith memory banks, and transmitted in every known language. They wanted to erase us, but they forgot something. Humans don't break. We adapt. We rise. And when we return, we don't come back quiet.